Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be kicking this off momentarily, so if everyone would like to take their seats, we'll start the program shortly. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. It's an exciting day. I think that I am here to announce the biggest merger in history, merger of Main Street and Wall Street. So thank you. I'm grateful to be with you all. An entire generation of Americans is about to learn in the most life-changing way possible how even small contributions can become generational wealth. And it's all thanks to President Trump. Trump accounts are the president's gift to the American people. They represent perhaps the most groundbreaking policy innovation of modern times, and they are shaped by a simple vision: every American a shareholder. When every American owns a share of the most powerful economy on earth, every American will benefit from our nation's growth. Every American will capture a portion of the productivity gains brought about by AI, robotics, and other world-changing technologies. And every American will be invested in the free market system and, most importantly, its continued success. Trump accounts are not a government program. They are a radically new platform that returns us to a social contract anchored in individual ownership, where everyone starts life on an investing journey. By giving each newborn citizen a material stake in the American dream through Trump accounts, President Trump is minting future investors on every rung of the economic ladder. He is embedding financial literacy and empowering today's youth to shape their own financial future. And he is creating an ownership economy to secure the American experiment for a new generation and the next 250 years. This morning, I will explain how the President is advancing these goals and how you can help. We are the most giving country in the history of the world. We have long lacked a platform of private ownership from birth that facilitated philanthropy to do at scale direct giving to American children. Not anymore. Through Trump accounts, our president is creating an ownership economy where all citizens become shareholders in America's wealth. Today, 38% of American adults do not own stocks. But with Trump accounts, over time, we can get that number to zero. I've talked in the past about the importance of promoting parallel prosperity, an era of economic expansion where Wall Street and Main Street grow together. But the beauty of Trump accounts is that prosperity no longer runs parallel, it fuses together. The biggest merger in history. Under Trump accounts, Wall Street's success becomes Main Street's success, and vice versa. In addition to giving America's youth a crash course in capitalism and an economic leg up, Trump accounts will instill financial literacy in America's youth in a way no book, test, or school curriculum could. They will do so by providing students with a hands-on education in the power of compound growth. Treasury is wholly committed to promoting financial responsibility in the next generation through its Financial Literacy and Education Commission. Trump accounts embody the elegant alchemy of the golden age. They turn compound growth into American greatness, and they share that greatness evenly across every cohort of newborn citizens. There are 4 ways Trump accounts will be funded. First, through an initial $1,000 seed from the government. Second, through the donations of parents, friends, and employers. Third, through the generous donations of wealthy Americans and philanthropic organizations. And fourth, through donations from state governments. Let's start with the government seed. Thanks to President Trump, eligible children born between January 1, 2025 and December 31, 2028 will receive a $1,000 contribution from the Treasury Department that will immediately be invested in an index fund. To claim this investment, most families need merely check a box on Form 4547, the most aptly named tax document of all time. The compound growth from Treasury's initial seed funding alone stands to make young Americans wealthy. The S&P has grown at a rate of 10.5% each year on average since the 1950s. Assuming that growth rate continues, a single $1,000 deposit into a Trump account at birth will grow to over $600,000 by the age of retirement. Our president is putting the American dream within reach of every citizen, no matter the circumstances of birth. When young Americans turn 28, they can use their Trump accounts to keep saving for their retirement, or they can use them to purchase a home or further their education, two hallmarks of the American dream. Trump accounts will benefit from the compound growth of Treasury's initial seed funding, but they can also benefit from outside donations. Starting on July 4th, our nation's 250th anniversary, parents, family members, employers, and friends will be able to contribute up to $5,000 to each Trump account each year. By contributing the maximum amount each year, the Council of Economic Advisors estimates that a child's Trump account would be worth more than $1 million by the time they turn 28. We foresee a day when employers offer matching contributions to Trump accounts in the same way they offer matching contributions to retirement accounts. And we foresee a day when parents contribute to their children's Trump accounts in the same way they would contribute to their 529 account. Keep in mind that parents can create Trump accounts for any child under 18, not just those born between 2025 and 28. The third way of funding Trump accounts is through the generous donation of philanthropists and charitable organizations. Susan and Michael Dell have led the way by pledging to donate $6.25 billion of their own money to help fund Trump accounts for 25 million children under the age of 10. To put this number in perspective, the Dells made the single largest private commitment to U.S. children in our nation's history. Their donation provides an additional $250 in funding to Trump accounts for children across the country. The Dells donation was the starting sound in a national race to top out Trump accounts for the next generation. And this morning, I'm delighted to announce the first entrance into that race, world-renowned investor Ray Dalio. Ray has joined what we are calling the 50-State Challenge. The 50-State Challenge is a special initiative Treasury is launching today to rally the nation's philanthropists around a common cause. Through the 50-State Challenge, we are inviting every philanthropist in every state across the country to partner with us in building generational wealth for America's children through Trump accounts. Ray is representing Connecticut in the 50-State Challenge. Today, he will announce a generous contribution to boost funding for Trump accounts for kids across Connecticut. Ray has made the first move, but we welcome other donors and foundations in Connecticut and across the country to join him in the 50-State Challenge. The President is calling on our nation's business leaders and philanthropic organizations to help us make America great again by securing the financial future of America's children. Given the amazing level of interest and the generous donations we've seen so far, I am confident we will see many more donations, contributions pouring in. The fourth way of funding Trump accounts is through state governments. The administration has been working closely with a number of governors to determine the best way states can work with the federal government to expand access to Trump accounts to as many children as possible. Thus far, 20 states are considering topping up the accounts. State involvement can take many different forms. States can, for example, tie top-ups of Trump accounts to completion of financial literacy courses, or they can contribute directly to Trump accounts at birth. States are the laboratories of our democracy, and their experiments with Trump accounts will surface the best methods for funding over time. Trump accounts will not only restore the American dream for the next generation, they will make it more accessible than ever before. Together, we can usher in the President's golden age by building the most affordable, prosperous, and opportunity-rich America in our nation's history. I look forward to working with all of you to secure American prosperity through Trump accounts. Thank you. And now it's my great honor to introduce Speaker Mike Johnson, whom, without possible, the Trump accounts would not have been without Speaker Johnson's hard work on the one big, beautiful bill, getting it passed record time on July 4th, the Trump accounts would not be possible. I remember when Speaker Johnson told me in April, he said, I think I can have the bill out of the House by Memorial Day. I said, really? And he did it, and which gave us a lot of momentum. Leader Thune got it across the finish line on July 4th. And again, the bill is big, it is beautiful, but one of the most transformative pieces in this legislation, they are the Trump accounts. So I will welcome Speaker Johnson. And again, Mike, thank you for your leadership on this.
Thank you. What an exciting day this is. It's so great to see you all here at Treasury with our extraordinary Secretary, Scott Bessent, is a godsend to America. Can I get a round of applause for our Treasury Secretary? Yes. President Trump will have a lot of extraordinary legacy items that history will record, but one of the best choices early on was selecting this gentleman to serve in this position. And he's put together an extraordinary team, and the truth be told, we would not have gotten the big, beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, done as we did without his steady hand of leadership. Anyone who had a question, I drug him over here to Treasury and made him sit through a little class with the Treasury Secretary, and he helped get them to yes. So that's something history will record as well. We are so excited about this because America needs this. It's an idea that is long overdue. People have been struggling. You know, we inherited when President Trump came in and this Republican Congress took over in January with the new administration, we inherited a real mess. We had 4 years of Bidenomics, and we all know what that did to people's pocketbooks, to their outlook on the economy, and to their real experience in having to suffer through record high levels of inflation, lower wages, and less opportunity. So when we took the reins of power, we were determined to fix all of that. We had to fix virtually every area of public policy, and we got to work on it. And the result was that big, beautiful bill, aptly named by the president, also known as the Working Families Tax Cut, because that's what we achieved. We got real economic relief on the way for the American people. Largest tax cut in U.S. history. Largest savings of taxpayers' dollars at the same time, by the way. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, real relief for seniors on Social Security, all the other big benefits in the bill. But among all those features, one that I think will have a lasting effect, a truly lasting effect on the economy and the financial stability of individuals in our country at large, is the Trump account. And what we're here to explain, and what the Secretary just laid out, is an extraordinary transformational policy. It is truly going to change the lives of every American. And we wrote the big, beautiful bill. It was geared for lower and middle class earners to give relief to hardworking families. And this is one of the primary drivers of that. Now, I'm not going to give you a long speech. I could, because I'm really excited about this and what it's going to do for our families, for the economy. But one thing I really like, I think it's almost poetic, is that the implementation date happens to fall on July 5th of next year, right after our nation's 250th birthday. As the Secretary noted, the greatest nation in the history of the world, the most benevolent nation in the history of the world, the most successful, most free, most powerful. And there's a reason for that. I'll just leave you with that thought. America is built on these foundational principles, and among them is the idea of the free market, of individual financial stewardship and responsibility, the idea of capitalism, that everybody gets a shot. If you work hard and you play by the rules and you do your best, you can get to the next rung on that economic ladder. And now with this, there's a bit of a turbo boost to that idea. And while we've always believed in private property ownership, private ownership, as the Secretary noted, now there is a platform, a new platform for private ownership. What an extraordinary concept. And what a big thing to celebrate as we celebrate our nation's supercentennial, as the President calls it, next year. The idea that these principles and these foundational premises that make our great nation will flourish in a whole new way. So we're so excited to be a small part of that. We're so excited for the exceptional leadership, for the vision of President Trump to do this. I can't wait to tell everybody about Form 4547. If we could only put an exclamation point at the end of the form number, that would be even perfect. This is big stuff for a big, incredible country. So grateful to be a small part of it. Thank you all so much for being here. God bless.
Thank you to Speaker Johnson. Good morning. I'm Assistant Secretary for Financial Institutions, Luke Pettit, and it's my privilege to help lead the implementation work for Trump accounts that's being done here at the Treasury Department. In August of this year, President Trump announced a national initiative, America by Design, to improve experiences for Americans, especially involving websites where Americans interface with the United States government. In doing this, the President established the National Design Studio and appointed a Chief Design Officer. We're privileged to have our Chief Design Officer, Joe Gebbia, here with us today, who's also the co-founder of a great American company, Airbnb. It's also our honor to welcome Senator Katie Britt of Alabama. Senator Britt has long been a champion of our nation's youth and was a critical partner in ensuring that Trump accounts made it into the working family tax cuts earlier this year. Please welcome me in joining Joe and Senator Britt.
Some comments first, and then great. Well, thank you, Luke. Thank you, Secretary Bessent. It's great to be here, and it's great to share and be a part of this very big upgrade to America. This is one of the most exciting product launches coming out of Silicon Valley. I've seen a lot over my career. I have to say, it's rare that you get to see a product launch quite of this scale, quite of this excitement, and one that deserves equally big storytelling and equally considered design. As Luke mentioned, the President signed an executive order this summer to stand up the National Design Studio with his initiative called America by Design to improve the way we communicate in America, to improve the way the government presents itself. No more do government websites need to be mediocre. Why? We can bring private sector and industry standard design, usability, technology to improve the way that America experiences the government. Now, when this initiative, if this initiative were to be launched, I'd say 50 years ago, you'd either have to walk into a building and access it or maybe get something in the mail. At the time, I imagine the building would have been beautifully designed and the mail would have been a nice form. The reality is people access the government through websites, which is why the President so strategically decided to invest in upgrading across the government. So with that, I'm excited to share a major update to trumpaccounts.gov. We'll pull the website up right now. So Trump accounts jumpstart the American dream. We're building long-term financial security for millions of children by creating tax-advantaged investment accounts for U.S. citizens under the age of 18 coming next summer in 2026. People will be able to put in their emails, which we've collected a lot so far. There's a lot of interest in this. As we scroll down the page, we give people a glimpse of what this might look like come next summer, where they get to see your child has received $1,000 from the United States Treasury Department. As the Secretary mentioned, this will be invested into index funds. And we have a chance to actually show children what's in those index funds. They actually get to participate in great American companies and see how their gift changes over time. As we scroll down the page, so kids get $1,000 for every American child between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. The account's fully in the child's name, and the parents become the custodian until the child turns 18. No contributions are necessary beyond $1,000, but you can deposit up to $5,000 a year to help accelerate the growth. This will be launching, we like to say July 4th. July 5th is good too. There's 3 easy steps. Enroll your child by making an election when you file your taxes. Second, a financial institution will receive your funds and activate your account. Third, sit back and watch the money grow. You can contribute anytime or not. Big things start with small steps. Every parent just smiled. Jumpstart their financial future. Build your child's financial foundation right from the beginning with $1,000 from the Treasury. Your child has a huge head start on the American dream. As they age and grow up, the power of time in the market. Your account balance will grow over time on its own. Whether you choose to contribute additionally or not, you can do up to $5,000 a year to accelerate gains. Your child continues to grow up. Proven winners, all-American growth. Your child's funds will automatically be invested in American companies. The app and interface let you see exactly what the stocks are that they own and how they're performing. Growing their finances and their education. As they get older, they'll learn about investing and watch their money compound in real time. They'll gain more than just money. They'll gain financial literacy. At 18, Trump account is all theirs. They're free to continue letting it grow, or they can withdraw funds right away to use for things like education or housing, with all the tax advantages of a traditional IRA. Your child's account grows with them, and we modeled out. At age 18, if you didn't add anything else to the $1,000, your child would have $5,800 by the time they graduate high school. If you contributed $250 a year by age 18, you'd have estimated, forecasted, $20,700. And if you contributed the max $5,000 a year, by age 18, that would compound to $800,000. Now, Secretary Bessent gave me an idea. We're going to show, update later today, to show at age 18 and also at the age of retirement. So people will be able to click through this. Thank you for that product idea, Secretary. So people can see the forecast if they hold on to this through the age of retirement. As mentioned, companies are stepping up. The private sector is leaning into this. These are some of the first initial companies. I imagine this page will get very long. We'll have to figure out a way to click and to see the full list at some point. And as mentioned, the leadership of Michael and Susan Dell, along today with the announcement of Ray and Barbara Dalio, stepping up from the philanthropic sector. This is a pro-family initiative that will help millions of Americans harness the strength of our economy to lift up the next generation. And they'll really be getting a big jump on life, said our President, Donald J. Trump. We've got Q&A for parents. We think kids are going to be curious in this too, so we've got Q&A for them, and also for corporations and philanthropists. We'll be updating this later today with the news out of this conference, and closing out with the next best thing to watching your child grow up is a tax-advantaged investment account that belongs entirely to them. So this is the big update to trumpaccounts.gov. Thank you.
Absolutely incredible.
Thank you, Senator. It's great to be with you today.
It's great to be with you, and thank you for all that you're doing.
Likewise, likewise. I want to start a question for you because you were an instrumental part of the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Can you talk about why Trump accounts were so important to you to get into that bill?
Yeah, look, this is transformational. You think about being a young parent, right? And so many of us remember being in the hospital and having this beautiful baby that you're like, you're going to send this child home with me in about 24 hours. And you start to think of all that you want to provide for your child. And the immediate things you think about are what's right in front of you, diapers and the right car seat for safety and how are you going to make all of this work? But ultimately what you want for your child, for every child, is a chance at the American dream. And look, after the last 4 years of the previous administration, I think all of us, it felt heavy, with inflation and just the cost of life in general. Many people felt like that dream was out of reach. And the incredible thing about the working families tax cut is that President Trump said, no, we're going to make good on the promises we made to the American people. We are going to see these parents and help them provide that opportunity. And we want the next generation to be better off as a result of our leadership. And I think there is no more evidence, greater evidence of that than these accounts. And when we're looking at America and the fact that we are that shining city on the hill, everybody wants to be a part of that. And we know that about 60% of Americans are invested in markets, but we know 40% are not. And the thing that President Trump and the Secretary have made such a priority is how do we make sure that that 40% has the same chances that the 60 do? How do we close the gap between the have and the have-nots? How do we create a pathway for these kids, maybe in an underserved community or have not previously had access, to have the ability to achieve that American dream? And that's what this does. And we are going to look back on this moment and see that it not only changed our nation and how we work together, from government to companies to philanthropists, but it is truly going to change lives. And when we see these stories unfold, even in a few years for kids that are under 18, but ultimately these children that are born during President Trump's administration and have the seed money of $1,000 and what it does for them, whether it's home ownership or education or other opportunities, it is going to be remarkable, and it's going to be the envy of the world.
What do you think the impact will be at age 18 for a child who's born during this administration? 18 years from now, what do you imagine the impact might be?
Oh, tremendous. I think, so I have two children, 15 and 16, and you rest assured that my husband and I are going to go ahead and set one up as soon as possible. And you think about just the growth that can occur at 18 or 28 or what could ultimately happen. But you think about a child that is born right now that is going to allow this to grow. And I believe that what we've seen from the Dells and what we have seen from companies already stepped up, that is just the beginning. President Trump and the Secretary have an opportunity to just inspire in a way that we've not seen any other leader be able to do. So I believe that will be compounded tremendously. And I think ultimately, you've seen the American dream slip away. Like, one example is home ownership, and you heard the Secretary talk about that earlier. So previously, people could buy their first home between 25, 26, 27 on average. Now we're looking at, 38 and beyond. What this will be able to do for a down payment or an educational opportunity or skills training is going to change the game. And listen, I want to thank you. I have a question for you. So as a parent, number one, I told you when I saw those little feet up there, that just took me back in time. And I also thought, how am I going to do all of these things? And then how do you know what to do and when to do it? You have been transformative with bringing products to market, and you have found a way to target the information that is needed in a way that people like me can receive it. Because I'll be honest with you, I am that parent that has to get my kids to help me figure out what to do online quite a bit. And so talk to me about being the head of the National Design Studio and how this project, kind of the framing that you took into account for this project to help parents like me be able to navigate this and actually be able to access it.
Well, thank you for that question. I think this is such an important initiative, and to make it sure it gets the widest adoption possible, as a designer, you want to make things as simple as possible. Whether that's the messaging, whether that's the interface or the usability of something. If you want to increase conversion rate, make it simple. And so, my company was really built around that. How do we apply great design to helping somebody take a great vacation, take a trip somewhere, connect with that accommodation? And so this is really bringing those same principles here. How do we have really clear communication, really clear crisp messaging so that the American at any socioeconomic level can understand how this fits into their life and how it benefits them.
Yeah, and I would imagine that, as a new mom or dad in the hospital, or bringing your child home, that we're going to find ways to make sure that this is front and center, that they are educated about this and can explore and also know 45, 47, what to check when they're doing their taxes as well. And I'm sure that just making it easy to navigate has been a top priority of yours.
That's right. I think, and this is really, as a consumer of government products, as an American, there's so much more we could be doing to tell the story about the great efforts of the government, of the administration, of these kinds of initiatives to really resonate and connect with American people. And so this is really the mandate from the president to the National Design Studio.
Well, and I think that's what makes this administration so different, is we know that you are the expert in how to deliver that. We've seen the success of that, and now we're allowing your talents and vision to be executed in a way that everyday Americans, that moms and dads out there that are thinking about the future of their child, are able to take advantage of it. So thank you for what you're doing on this. I think back to a time when my grandfather in the early 90s gave us a stock at Christmas. And so here we were, and my grandfather is a small business owner. He had a hardware store that was my great-grandfather's that had been passed down, and he and my father were building a boat dealership together. And so as a small business owner in a more rural part of the state, in a small town, you kind of sort of think that markets are out of reach for you. When we opened that up, every grandchild, and we finally had ownership in something that was bigger than ourselves, and we would watch it every single year. When we're thinking about these accounts, Joe, this is about access, this is about education, and this is about opportunity. And with one delivery of this, you give a child all of those things. I know for me, it created an interest in that in a way that I would not have had otherwise. It also a pride of ownership. And so you think about parents all across the country that are going to be looking at these accounts and thinking, what can my child do with this? How is this going to help them achieve? And then the educational process that comes with that access and the ultimate opportunity is going to change lives forever.
That's right. I mean, as a policymaker, you've been at the tip of the spear on these issues, whether it's about being part of the pro-family party. Can you speak more about those initiatives or other things that you're involved in?
Yeah, look, there is no doubt that under President Trump's leadership, the Republican Party has become the party of families. We have become the party of parents. We've become the party of hard-working Americans. And so to get to be a part of delivering on that has really been incredible. The Working Families Tax Cuts, as mentioned by the speaker, have so many things in here for hardworking Americans and people, allowing them to keep more of their hard-earned dollars, making sure that dollar goes further, and creating opportunity like we're talking about today. One of the other things that I was proud to lead the effort in the Working Families Tax Cut was actually addressing the affordability and accessibility of childcare. So it doesn't matter if you're talking to our largest manufacturers or our smallest business on a main street in a community in Alabama. They tell you being able to recruit and retain a workforce is one of the things that they deal with, and one of the issues that they have with that is affordability and accessibility of childcare. We know that there are a lot of people that want to re-engage in the workforce, and if you want to do that, I want you to have that opportunity to help us as we build back America. And we want to make sure that impediment, we want people to be able to have more children and do more things, that an impediment of affordability or accessibility, that we help knock that down. And so in this, the tax code was actually updated for the first time since 1986 when it came to decap. So when Ronald Reagan was the president. So went from $5,000 to $7,500 that parents will be able to have there. And then we updated the CDCTC for the first time since 2001. So an additional $900 for people who utilize that. All of this is real money for parents who are trying to create this pathway for their children. And then we also created an additional 45F, an additional dollars there, move that to $500,000, really creating an opportunity for businesses to be a part of this solution. We know that just like in line with the Trump accounts, it's going to take everybody doing everything. So whether that's a voucher program or an on-site facility, and then also small businesses for the first time can take part in that as well. So this is transformative because we've heard people talk about affordability of childcare for years. President Trump at this administration and the Republican Senate and House actually did something about it. So we're excited for people to actually get to make use of that as well. A lot of good things coming.
Well, thank you so much for all you're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Britt. Morning, I'm Derek Tyre. I joined the Treasury Department in January on the Secretary's team, and now I'm performing the duties of Deputy Secretary. I was privileged last year to work for Speaker Johnson, so it's a special moment for me to be in the room with the Speaker, with the Secretary. These are two leaders fit for the time. These are the best possible people for these roles. And the first 6 months of the year that we spent working on the one big beautiful bill, getting that in place by July, and getting these important tax cuts for families was experience of a lifetime. Thank you to Senator Britt for being here and for your leadership on pro-growth and pro-family tax policy. We also want to mention the absence of Caroline Leavitt, the President's dynamic press secretary, who is traveling with the President, but we are in full partnership with the White House on Trump accounts. Successful implementation of Trump accounts is driven by close coordination between Treasury and the IRS. Even before these historic tax cuts were signed, we established working groups across Treasury and IRS to develop guidance and to work on implementation, systems upgrades, so these provisions would be effective as soon as possible in 2026. To guide that process and ensure a successful filing season next year, Secretary Bessent, in his capacity, he has many jobs, in his capacity as acting IRS commissioner, he called on SSA Administrator Frank Bisignano to assist. Frank is the first ever CEO of the Internal Revenue Service, and I've been fortunate to have the chance to work with him in recent months. His extensive experience leading large organizations, managing the upgrade and modernization of complex financial systems, these are an invaluable asset to the IRS and to the American taxpayer. With Secretary Bessent and Frank Bisignano at the helm, we truly have world-class leadership that our tax admin system has so desperately needed. Concurrent with major IRS upgrades and IT modernization, Treasury and IRS will deliver a successful filing season and Trump account rollout during 2026. So it's my honor to welcome Frank Bisignano, CEO of the IRS.
Thank you, Derek, and thank you for all you do, providing the leadership that you do across the organization. I'm delighted to be here today on this momentous occasion with the outstanding leadership that you've seen come before me. Speaker Johnson, Senator Britt, my good partner in the digital transformation of government, Joe Gebbia, who's an outstanding innovator and technologist, and taking what he did in startups and bringing it to the largest startup in the world, the U.S. government. And of course, I am so fortunate to have the opportunity to work with a friend and an outstanding leader and somebody who's transforming this government and driving results as never seen before, Treasury Secretary Bessent. Thank you to President Trump for allowing me the opportunity and trusting me to be the first CEO of the IRS. And with his leadership and Treasury Secretary Bessent's, we will be unparalleled in what we accomplish. It is an honor for me to lead this great organization, which is intrinsic to the functioning and success of our nation. Our teams are working to deliver Secretary of the Treasury and Acting Commissioner Bessent vision for transforming IRS. As CEO, I am committed to ensuring the IRS sharpens its focus on three priorities. First, enhancing customer service. We will serve the American public in a manner they never were before. Improving collections. We fundamentally at the IRS is the largest revenue pool in the world, and we will perform better on that. And for the American public, safeguarding privacy. Related to our broader efforts to make the IRS work better and more efficiently for the American people, we're laser focused on implementing the one big, beautiful bill. There's no words that can be said better or I'm more proud to say. As part of that, I am delighted to be here today to talk about one of the most important provisions from this historic piece of legislation. Trump accounts. As you have heard from others, this is going to be one of the most impactful policy endeavors of this administration. And it is truly an honor to work at the direction of President Trump on this initiative. The best way for me to describe the goal of Trump accounts is to use the President's own words. This is a pro-family initiative that will help millions of Americans harness the strength of our economy to lift up the next generation and generations to follow. Trump accounts are going to unlock the American dream and President Trump's golden age economy for an entire generation. I am proud to say the IRS, in coordination with Treasury, has been hard at work developing the guidance needed to ensure that eligible families can take advantage of Trump accounts. Earlier this month, we issued a notice providing some initial information, and we are still drafting regulations that will give more detailed guidance to families soon. We also have been developing the greatest form in IRS history, 4547. Mark that down. The form people will need to use when they open a Trump account for an eligible child. A draft of that form is available on irs.gov. We're focused on making it as easy as possible for those who are eligible to open an account or contribute. The rollout of the official Trump account website today. Great job, Joe, in doing all you've done. With fulsome FAQs will help streamline this process. You will hear more about TrumpAccounts.gov in just a few moments. Please expect additional information and guidance from the Treasury Department and IRS between now and January 5th, 2026, when Trump accounts officially launch. So once again, I want to thank Treasury leadership for the opportunity to be here today. As IRS CEO, I will remain committed to ensuring the success of Trump accounts, and I am grateful to be involved with such an important program for the benefit of working families throughout America. It's my pleasure now to turn it over to the fabulous Treasury Secretary and outstanding leader, Scott Bessent. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We wanted to provide some of the reporters in the room with an opportunity to ask some questions. As you can see, we've brought up the full team to explain the intricacies of the rollout today and Trump accounts. So first, Nick Gilbertson with Breitbart.
Yeah, Mr. Secretary, a question for you. Can you explain the importance of fostering financial literacy among the next generation of America?
Yes, financial literacy has long been one of my passions, dating back for more than a decade when I was in the private sector. And I believe, I grew up in a small town in South Carolina, in Little River, South Carolina. We didn't know anything about Wall Street. We just knew something bad happened in 1929. And I think the idea of financial literacy, knowing how to manage your money, how to manage your finances, is something that's gotten lost to Americans, whether it's children, the 20-somethings, or even many adults. And I think that this is going to provide, as I said earlier, this live action, being able to check your account every day, is going to re-engage Americans in this. We're going to reach out. Many banks, as part of their Community Reinvestment Act educations, we're going to reach out to all the banks to give seminars. So I think that this really is going to be transformative for the American people, making them much better consumers of financial products and understanding how they can optimize their financial health.
Ed Lawrence with Fox Business.
Thank you. And again, I think for you, Mr. Secretary, kids can access these accounts at 18 years old. Stop an inflation push 18 years from now, where kids just clean out the accounts and start spending. Also, if I could, economic poll numbers have been slipping for the president. What do you know that maybe Americans aren't seeing?
So, couple of things. I'm optimistic that the 18-year-olds will roll them into retirement accounts, so that there will be that. And again, I would expect that a large amount of this could be used towards, as I said earlier, to begin the American dream. And it's going to be staggered. So it's going to be staggered, and it will be for a home purchase, for an auto purchase, for education. I don't think educational inflation can go any higher. I am very optimistic about 2026. As wearing my other hat as the acting IRS commissioner, I could see what has happened with President meeting his campaign promises and no tax on tips, overtime, Social Security, deductibility of American-made autos. Because the One Big Beautiful Bill was passed on July 4th, it was retroactive to the beginning of the year, Americans have not changed their withholdings. So my estimate, and I do have inside information, that we could see between 100 and 150 billion of refunds going primarily to working families. Those families, those individuals will change their withholdings, so they'll actually get a bump up in their take-home pay. So we'll see both. We'll see substantial refunds, bumps up in the take-home pay. We've seen 15% CapEx growth this year. Historically, CapEx growth translates into job growth. And I think as I said, I think 2 days ago, we have spent 2025 setting the table, and now it's time for the banquet.
Eleanor Mueller, Semaphore.
Mr. Secretary, thank you for having this event. There's been a lot of debate on the Hill this week over whether or not another reconciliation package is feasible for the Republican Party. Do you see a path forward this Congress? And if so, what would you prioritize for its inclusion?
Yeah, I think we're going to stick to the accounts today. Okay.
James Bleedy, Financial Times.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The president in late November said that he knew who his pick was for Fed chair, but since he has continued to interview other candidates, there has been some concern in financial markets and among investors about the credibility of Kevin Hassett, the front runner to do the job. Do you share those concerns, and is the president worried about that as well?
We're trying to keep this on Trump accounts. I think any concern on Director Hassett is absurd. He is an eminently qualified PhD economist with views of his own, and he, along with the others, would make a very good Fed chair. And maybe he was referring to maybe I was his pick, but I was unavailable.
Eamon Javers with CNBC.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. On the Trump accounts, real quick, you mentioned Ray Dalio's contribution here. Do you have an estimated dollar amount for what that will amount to?
We don't yet. My guess, Ray and Barbara Dalio's, I think it'll be about $100 million for the state of Connecticut is my guess, but I haven't seen the exact numbers.
And on tariffs, if I could, obviously some of your key tariffs this year are being challenged at the Supreme Court. Is the Treasury Department prepared to commit to American companies that have paid those tariffs this year that they will get refunds if Treasury loses at court?
Well, first of all, Eamon, it won't be Treasury losing, it will be the American people losing. And this is a national security issue, and I think we're going to wait and see. My guess is the Supreme Court ruling, whichever way it goes, will be extremely nuanced.
And Christian Daytalk.
Thank you, everyone, for doing this event. Christian Daytalk with the Washington Examiner. Just for your record, Mr. Secretary, Ray Dalio tweeted he will be contributing around $75 million. Going to go pumping for more money? Is that too low?
I read Bridgewater's having a good year, so.
And then on the accounts themselves, is the administration considering a push from Democratic lawmakers to expand the federal contribution specifically for families who won't be able to maximize their own annual contributions?
Well, I find it rich that Democratic lawmakers who had the trifecta never did this. So why don't they let us get them up and running? We got 4 years, and then we'll see where it goes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us here today. We really appreciate everyone hanging out, and thank you for all of our speakers. Have a nice day.